Well, that was fun. Welcome back to the Locked On Pirates podcast, everybody. I am, of course, your host, Ethan Smith, who does the most. And on today's episode, we are going to be recapping a series victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers, who currently hold the NL's best record at the current moment. But the Pittsburgh Pirates win 2 out of 3 against LA. So we're going to recap that series and what I liked from the series, as well as taking a look at the success of Henry Davis in the minor leagues right now and why the Pittsburgh Pirates probably got that pick right already and how he can continue to improve here in 2022, as well as Jack Suwinski, who had a good game today, had a good series overall, and why bringing him up and the success that he's had could be a learning moment for the Pittsburgh Pirates moving forward. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. If you were late on your Mother's Day gift, make sure you head over to Blue Nile and fix your wrongs there for not getting your mother a Mother's Day gift. You can fix those wrongs over there at Blue Nile. And also thank you for making me your first listen of the day every single day, even if they even come out after post game. If you sit around and wait for these to come out, I appreciate you so much. You can listen on Spotify, Odyssey, YouTube, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. And with all that said, let's get into today's episode.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And of course, everyone, welcome back to the Locked On Pirates podcast. I am, of course, your host who does the most, Ethan Smith. Hope you all are having a phenomenal Wednesday, as I am as well, after the Pirates picked up their 13th victory of the season in 30 games. That moves them to a 13-17 record on the year. And after a weekend in Cincinnati where things just were not looking bright for the Pirates at all, they come into this series against the Los Angeles Dodgers at home to start off a 7-game homestand. And things worked out for them. They win 2 out of 3 games. They move their record when they score 5 runs to 10-1 in 2 of these games. If you noticed, both times they scored 5 or more runs, they won the games that they played. And I am ecstatic about what I saw from this team over the start of this week. I mean, you looked at today's game, Jack Suwinski goes yard, Josh Van Meter even goes yard, Daniel Vogelbach had the go-ahead home run, and then, of course, Gamble grounded into a fielder's choice that would score Josh Van Meter in the 8th inning to give the Pirates a little bit of insurance. David Bednar would pick up his 5th save of the year. Will Crowe was credited with the victory, and former Pirate Daniel Hudson was credited with the loss. Of course, the Daniel Vogelbach home run was his first extra base hit given up all year. But, I mean, after last night's game, I think a lot of people expected the Dodgers to kind of come out in game 3, solidify themselves. But, they had a starter out there in Poteet, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Or PPO. I couldn't tell you how to pronounce it. I apologize to Dodgers fans that might be listening to this. But when I saw that they were starting a guy in his first MLB start, I said, okay, this could be a huge opportunity for the Pirates to go out and actually win this series. And that's exactly what they did. Of course, on Monday, they pick up the 5-1 win. Phenomenal game all around. 15 hits to 4 hits for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Of course, Quintana became the first Pirates starter this year to pick up a victory. We talked about that on Tuesday's episode, which was actually yesterday. So make sure you go check that out. Of course, Jake Marisnick had a big game there with a diving catch, but he also ended up getting hurt. Tuesday's game, which I didn't talk about a lot because there wasn't really much to talk about. 8 doubles from the Dodgers, just an all-around bad game. Bryce Wilson, 6 earned runs over 2 2/3. Just not a great game at all from the Pirates. They're losing 11-1, which is funny because that's their second worst loss of the year. We still don't really talk about what happened in Wrigley Field a couple Saturdays ago. But it was really nice to see this team bounce back today and see them realistically shut the Dodgers down again. I mean, the Dodgers, of course, had 3 runs in that 7th inning. But if not for Will Crowe with the bases loaded and 2 outs, striking out Max Muncy looking, we could have been talking about a whole different story here with the Pittsburgh Pirates losing this game. And albeit Chris Stratton, he's kind of looked a little worse over the course of the season so far, but I think he'll definitely pick it back up. I think him and Roberto Perez were linking a lot better than we had thought that they probably were. And I mean, again, there's a lot of positives to come out of this. I mean, the Pittsburgh Pirates just went toe to toe with the National League's best team, won 2 out of 3, albeit at home. But this is the first time that they've beat the Dodgers at all since 2019, which happened on Monday. And I don't remember the last time they beat them in a series, but this is a huge thing for a young baseball team because, as they alluded to on the broadcast, whenever the Pirates do start contending, these are the teams that they're going to have to beat. They're going to have to beat the likes of the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets. They're going to have to beat these teams, and they're going to have to beat teams like the Reds. We saw that over the weekend. The Reds beat them 2 out of 3 times. They come right back around and win 2 out of 3 against the Los Angeles Dodgers, and now they have a chance to go beat Cincinnati in 4 games again. Hopefully, we at least get 4 games this time. The weather in Pittsburgh looks like it's going to hold up for the most part. And the interesting part about today's game, too, and my biggest takeaway from the game was I've talked a lot about the trio of Brian Reynolds, Key Brian Hayes, and Michael Chavis. Today, they combined for 1 hit and 13 plate appearances. Okay. But then you look at it, and Ben Gamel, Daniel Vogelbach, Jack Suwinski, and Josh Van Meter all had hits today. 2 of them had multi-hit games, or 3 of them did actually. Van Meter, Sawinski, and Vogelbach all with 2 hits. It's nice to see the supporting cast support the other guys when they're not having that great of a game. Now, of course, I did make a little bet with Key Brian Hayes on over fantasy points on daily fantasy, but didn't work out for me. But albeit as well, you look at the pitching staff also. Some unknown, or some names came in, and Dylan Peters and Max Kranick come in. Both pitched 3 scoreless innings, almost identical score lines. The only difference was Kranick had 1 less strikeout and 1 extra walk, but only allowed 4 hits over 6 innings to one of baseball's best lineups. Of course, Chris Stratton was the one that kind of got beat around, allowing 2 earned runs. Will Crow comes in, shuts things down, and then David Bednar picks up the multi-inning save. All around, fun series for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I just want to see them replicate this against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, of course, a lower team in terms of standings right now, a lower team in terms of how they're playing, and I want to see the Pirates do this against them as well. I think we should expect no less than 3 out of 4 for the Pittsburgh Pirates against the Cincinnati Reds after seeing this series. I mean, if they could play like this against the likes even of the Cardinals, it would be really nice to see. But I think the Cardinals and the Brewers are going to be their kryptonite. But it's nice to see the Pirates go out there against a team that is much better than them on paper and in payroll, and play very well, and not only play very well, but win the series. I think even if that 11-1 game never happened, we would be talking a lot about what the Dodgers are worth. Now, again, this is a random series in May, but this series means way more for the Pirates than it does for the Dodgers. I will go ahead and say that now, but I'm happy that it means more for the Pirates than the Dodgers because the Pirates needed something like this to happen for the rest of the year and to gain some momentum, of course. And if you want to gain some momentum with your business and your job search, make sure you check out LinkedIn. Of course, LinkedIn has pretty much anything you can need when you're looking for employees. With spring in the air and summer on the way, it's a time of renewal and growth, personally and professionally. As your small business grows, LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then, add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires for leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. And of course, terms and conditions apply. So we talked about what happened in PNC Park over these last couple days, but one of the bigger stories around the Pittsburgh Pirates came from the minor leagues, where we saw Henry Davis the other day already be brought up from Greensboro to Altoona, single A to double A. Now, of course, the Roberto Perez injury had a lot to do with this. You saw the likes of Jamie Ritchie and other guys get moved up and down along the system because Michael Perez had to come up and be the starter slash backup catcher with Andrew Knapp. We saw Andrew Knapp today, Michael Perez the last 3 days, and Andrew Knapp even had some moments today where it looked like he saved the game. Of course, having that great block that he had on a 2-2 count that stopped a runner coming home from third. But Henry Davis already doing a phenomenal job in the minor leagues. Last year's number one overall pick. Of course, it came with some scrutiny because when the Pirates make a decision, when doesn't it come with scrutiny, right? But anyways, he's been doing phenomenal in the minors so far. Of course, in Greensboro, where he's had most of his time, he's hit the cover off the baseball. And I don't think hitting is really what a lot of people are worried about. I think a lot of people are worried about his defense. And I would also go ahead and say this as well. If you're really worried about him moving away from catcher, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Henry Davis is going to stay at the catcher position. And of course, so far in the minor leagues this year, 345, 462, 619, average on base percentage and slugging with an over 1,000 OPS. Gotta love that. Of course, most of that came in Greensboro, where he's only had one game in Altoona. But even in that one game in Altoona, he already showed out with a hit, 4 total bases, which all came from that home run along with 2 RBIs. Of course, this is a little bit of an improvement from what we saw last year, but of course, still can't really say much considering he's only played 23 games so far this year. 8 games the last year, though. Of course, his career minor league averages come out to 336, 444, and 664 with a 1.108 OPS. So that's the things that you really like to see here. 52 total bases, 70 this year, and 73 on his career. You get the point. Henry Davis hits the ball very well, and I think that he will stay in Altoona for about a couple months, but there is a real shot that he can play in Indianapolis at some point this year. I don't see any reason to say why he shouldn't. If the bat plays, he's going to be up here. The catcher position in the system right now does not look that great. I'll be honest. Roberto Perez is on the 60-day injured list. Michael Perez and Andrew Knapp are your current major league catchers. Then you're talking about Jamie Ritchie, Arden Pabst, Andy Rodriguez, Abraham Gutierrez, and Henry Davis. Henry Davis, far and in between, is better than all of the guys that I just mentioned. I would say even right now, he could probably compete with Michael Perez and Andrew Knapp as an MLB catcher. But of course, he needs to build his craft first. And a lot of that craft that he needs to build is going to come from the defensive side of the baseball. He's very good hitting the ball. Nobody is doubting that whatsoever. You saw it at Louisville. I watched his highlights at Louisville. I looked at his stats, his advanced analytics at Louisville. The kid was ridiculous. I mean, you look at what he did in college, 337, 435, 556 in college. In the ACC, the ACC is not an easy collegiate conference at all when it comes to baseball. I mean, you have a lot of good teams in that conference. If you ever get a chance to watch some collegiate baseball, the SEC and the ACC, man, two very good conferences to watch. And Henry Davis was ripping the cover off the ball down there in Louisville, ripping the cover off the ball right now in the minor leagues for a good reason. I mean, he has a very nice fluid swing. And on top of that home run he had last night, he also drew a walk. He's very disciplined at the plate. He hits the ball to all parts of the field, which I really want to do a deep dive on him a lot more after we talk about this. But again, the number one overall pick, he's showing it right now. And I really believe that most Pirates fans right now, if they would have went with Marcelo Meyer or one of these other guys, Jack Leiter, I've heard good things about him, but if they would have went with one of the guys in high school that was going to take longer, Pirates fans would be up in atoms on Twitter right now complaining about it. Henry Davis has a real shot to be here next year. A real shot. I mean, if he impresses in spring training and impresses the rest of the year and stays healthy this year, and then it comes out in 2023 spring training and impresses, not saying he'll start the year at the major league level right away, but there is a strong chance that we will see Henry Davis playing baseball in Pittsburgh as early as July 2023, I think. Maybe even earlier than that. And what we're going to talk about with the whole Jack Suwinski thing that I've liked what I've seen from him in the final segment of today's episode. I think it'll attribute a lot to what the Pirates are going to do with Henry Davis. They've already they've already proven that they're going to do this service time manipulation crap. Because O'Neal Cruz should already be on this roster. He should be. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But he's also being forced to play a position in the minors he doesn't want to play right now. We'll see how it works out for him. We'll see if it tarnishes anything. But Henry Davis, man, seeing him get called up, seeing him do successful things, especially at Double A, because Double A is very interesting right now because you have guys, especially pitching right now that are there that are very important to the Pirates' future. On top of the fact that the lineup they had yesterday had 4 of the Pirates' top 10 prospects in it. 4. Think about that for a second. Henry Davis, Nick Gonzalez, Leover Piguero, and I believe the fourth one was Kanan. I don't want to say it was Kanan, but I can't remember who the fourth one was. But it was a lineup. I'm actually going to go find it right now for you guys while we're live. That's a great thing I love about myself when I record these for you guys. I let you kind of see the bloopers and see that even I have to look stuff up sometimes. It's the nature of baseball. It's a very complex sport. Of course, we saw some things yesterday. But I mean, you look at like what they have going today: Triolo, Scott, Gonzalez, Piguero, Sable, Frazier, Cita, Alvarez, Marcano, and Kyle Nicholas pitching tonight. That's today. That's and that's a lineup, right? The one they had yesterday, I believe, is Triolo, Davis, Gonzalez, Piguero, Sable, Sanchez, Frazier, Shackelford, Marcano, Ortiz. The Altoona Curve are a fun team to watch, and that was before Henry Davis got there. Now you have Henry Davis in the fold, and that team, it's real fun. So if you ever get bored with the Pirates, go watch the Altoona Curve. They're well worth it. They have a lot of guys down there right now. Kyle Nicholas, who they picked up from the Jacob Stallings trade, is down there right now. So make sure you go check out that team. But we're going to keep a close eye on Henry Davis. Of course, you kind of have to. He's the number 1 overall pick from last year. The Pirates have a top 5 pick again this year. So we're going to be keeping a keen eye on what a lot of these top prospects are doing because we're getting to that point of the rebuild where these guys are eventually going to be coming up and making a real impact. And, you know, if they want to make a real impact and even more of an impact than they already are, maybe they should eat some Built Bars. Of course, Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar on the planet. Summer is coming, and with summer, you're going to need some food on the go. Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on family vacations and throw them in your bags, in your kids' backpacks, and make sure that everyone has a bar so you are fueled for your summer adventures. The best part about Built Bars, they're healthy and delicious. No more sacrificing delicious food for health. With Built Bar, you can have both. And it's easy. All you have to do is go to built.com and order now. All Built Bars and Puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means that with Built Bar, you can eat healthy and actually enjoy doing it. Have you tried the Built Puffs yet? We are going crazy for the Puffs. They come in crazy flavors like banana cream pie and even churro. Who doesn't want a protein bar that tastes like a churro? And of course, they're only 140 calories. So sign me up. I already have. If that's not enough flavor for you, then you might want to try the Mix Box. The Mix Box comes with 12 different flavors of bars and puffs. Built Bar makes sure that there's something for everyone. My favorite flavor, of course, is always going to be white chocolate. I can go with white chocolate all day, every day with anything. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar and net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. And you compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. So go to builtbar.com right now to get all of your favorites and banana cream pie, raspberry, double chocolate, and so many more. They are all very delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. So check them out at builtbar.com and go to builtbar.com right now and use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off of your order when you invest in the best protein bars on the planet. So we've seen a lot of rookies already from the Pittsburgh Pirates come up, and Jack Suwinski being one of them is kind of surprising to some people, but, you know, we've liked what we've seen from him so far. I would say, right? You would say Jack Suwinski has had a pretty good run of things thus far this season. Of course, 42 at bats, 238 average, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 733 OPS, and 42 at bats, as I mentioned before. You like that, right? So the Pirates are giving Sawinski a chance, and right now they don't really have a choice. No Jake Marisnik, Cole Tucker, usually the only person in right field, but he's one of the better outfielders that the Pirates have available right now outside of Reynolds and Gamble. Don't think a lot of people would disagree with me on that. Um, but when you're looking at it, is it a learning moment? Because the Pirates have already seen success from a lot of rookies this year. Roenzi Contreras being one of them when he was here. He was pitching well for the most part in a relief role, but he needs to be a starter. Diego Castillo, probably the best, example of what I'm going to say here. He's played phenomenal. He's basically solidified himself at that shortstop position with Kevin Newman out, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from Diego Castillo. Is he the future shortstop of this team? Maybe. But you also have to look that they have O'Neal Cruz, Nick Gonzalez, and Liover Peguero, and G1 Bay, if they ever give him a chance, all behind him. You look at Michael Perez. Not a lot of people wanted Perez back, but with Roberto Perez going down, he was their one option. He's hit 2 home runs in 4 games. Or 3 games. Sorry, he didn't play today. The Pirates need to just start giving these guys chances. Stop, and this is Derek Shelton's issue, stop treating this team like a Little League baseball team. Play your best players. I ranted about this with Gary the other day. Michael Chavis, Daniel Vogelbach, Diego Castillo, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Ben Gamble, Brian Reynolds, and Jack Suwinski should be in the lineup every day unless it is a scheduled rest day. And not one of these, we're scheduling a rest day a week ahead. Just a day where the player is noticeably needs a rest day. I just gave you your lineup. Michael Chavis at first. Whoever you want to throw at second. Who cares? I mean, really, who cares? Vogelbach is your DH. Diego Castillo as your shortstop. Right now, the second baseman would probably be Van Meter. Hayes at third. Gamble in left. Reynolds in center. Sawinski in right. And then Perez or Knapp at catcher. It's not that difficult. I know Yoshi Tsutsugo's picking it up a little bit for good reason. And I know there's 4 million reasons why he gets playing time. But when you're a team, albeit right now, that is 13-17, I know it's early, but are the Pirates realistically out of contention yet? Is anybody except the Reds? No. So why not at least try to be competitive, put out your best players? Like, I loved what they did with Dylan Peters today. Dylan Peters being an opener is a very smart idea. It helps the team win. So why not, with guys like Jack Suwinski and Castillo, why not try this out with O'Neal Cruz? Why not try this out with Roenzi Contreras? Why not try this out eventually with Michael Burrows? And when the time comes around, why not try it out with Henry Davis, Nick Gonzalez, Liover Peguero, Quinn Priester, Carmen Majinski, Tanaj Thomas, Kanan Smith and Jigba, who I'm still surprised isn't up here right now. Cal Mitchell. Pirates fans thought he was gone. No Rule 5 draft. He's still here. And guess what? Still not in Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, but I don't need to see Cole Tucker, Josh Van Meter, Yoshi Tsutsugo, and some of these other random players taking up spots for guys that genuinely need to be playing. That's just how I feel about it. So let Jack Suwinski's success be a learning moment, Ben Cherington and Derek Shelton, and Pirates in general. Let it be a teaching moment. Let it show you that if you give some of these young guys a chance, again, it's early, I know. But give them a chance. You never know what's going to happen. You really don't. And if they don't pan out, they don't pan out. Move on to the next one. That's how I feel with this roster right now. That's how I feel with this farm system. They keep throwing these dartboards and trying to hit lottery tickets, but why try to keep hitting the lottery when you might already have it in your system? That's how I feel about it. Shouts out to Jack Suwinski, by the way, for doing a phenomenal job this series. And shouts out to you guys for listening to this podcast and listening to me rant every single day, Monday through Friday, here on the Locked On Pirates podcast. Of course, thank you for making me your first listen of the day every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Make sure you make Locked On MLB your second listen of the day every single day. Of course, Paul Francis Sullivan, but please call him Sully. Has all the things you need to know about Major League Baseball every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Of course, you guys can follow this podcast on Twitter at Locked On Pirates. You can follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan. Follow this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, Google Play, and of course, YouTube. We're over 250 subscribers on YouTube, so keep that number going up. And with that said, guys, I will see you tomorrow where we will be previewing the Red Series, talking about Oscar Marine and why in the world he's still even here and what he's done for Pittsburgh while he's been here, as well as talking about some other things in the world of the Pittsburgh Pirates. But with all that said, guys, I will see you on the flip side.